them into parts, components and structures, and they become part of supply chain of every major OEM, Airbus, Boeing, all the largest companies in the world. But there is critical dependence on supply of the material itself, which comes from outside. We make armored vehicles, combat vehicles. Very often, material is imported from outside. It is this field where we need to put more and more focus so that the base industry is first and foremost strengthened. It is the base of the pyramid on which rest of the industrial infrastructure is built. Till 20-30 years ago, most countries had strong base industries themselves. Over a period of time, many countries have reduced focus on base industries and focused more on value-added higher products. But any disruption in global supply chain immediately impacts all the value-added services put on top. So therefore, out of two reasons I was giving, one reason is criticality of base industries. Now I come to special quality requirements which are needed, and that is where this conference will serve a very important purpose. If you look at criticality of materials, defense and aerospace perhaps comes on the top. If you are making combat vehicles, guns, where at the time of firing temperatures can be from 300 degrees to 600 degrees centigrade, the requirement of materials is very unique and specific. Marazing steel is used which can withstand those temperatures without deterioration and quality. Aerostructures I spoke about earlier. Those alloys today are preserved of few countries, handful of countries. You can count them on the fingers of one hand. Rest of the world has to buy from limited number of suppliers, and any disruption in global supply chain will result in disruption of production of those countries. Importance of materials in any manufacturing base of a country, and in particular defense and aerospace, cannot be overemphasized. It is utmost importance. From materials point of view, consistency of quality is another factor which has remained of paramount importance. Sometimes, and I know examples which I will not quote here, test samples come out fine because a lot of care has been taken. It is when commercial production starts and you start using that material that all the difficulties arise. This is one place where Indian industry will have to work very hard before they can substitute sources of imported material in the country for critical supplies. Other difficulty which Indian defense industry faces is volumes are small. You must have read media reports, I don't have to highlight. When we talk of an aircraft carrier, we buy one at a time and often in a decade. When we talk of a submarine, we talk in multiples of 2, 4, 6. 12 supplied over a decade. When we talk of aircrafts, 36 is a typical number, then 72, then 144. Only in army numbers may be larger, but again they talk in 108, 100 and 250. Numbers in defense cannot be like consumer products, and therefore material requirement is also relatively smaller. It will be in thousands of tons, but excepting shipbuilding, it cannot be in millions of tons. That poses challenges in achieving economies of scale. So we are talking about three challenges in critical material supplies for defense and aerospace supply chain. First, of course, is availability of material of required specs. Second, consistency. This is not a consumer product. Lives depend upon the material. I will not accept a material which is 90% of the requirement because I know the lives of my officers and soldiers depend on them. And therefore, a supplier has to ensure that not only the required quality, but 100% consistency is met. Last point is only about economies of scale. That is something which depends where action can only be taken at government level, that we acknowledge that till the time we achieve economies of scale in material supply, there will have to be acceptance that cost of material may be slightly higher in the beginning, and that is a policy call which engineers and scientists cannot take. I would only like to end by saying materials, small and medium scale units, they all constitute an important critical part of supply chain for large integrators of platforms. We all need to work together, and in that context, purpose of this conference will be wonderfully served if we are able to arrive at meaningful policy directions, the strategy directions in which India should work so as to become self-sustainable in critical fields of Make in India. Thank you so much. Jai Hind.